What's up, everyone? Sam Stewart here, broadcasting from the diving board here in the Ross Recreation Center pool. And listen, y'all, we're not in studio this week because the studio's getting some renovations, but we're still bringing you a new episode of the Present Tense today. I'm talking with MJ. MJ, thank you for joining the show.
You're welcome.
Now, MJ, it really surprised me when I was doing this research, man. You're actually a captain in your sophomore year. And, we're going to talk about your leadership, all that kind of cool stuff. But how would you assess how this team has done so far? I know it's a young team, but y'all took them a couple big dubs last weekend, moving closer to the pack. So obviously a big matchup with Grove City. How would you assess how this squad has done up to this point in the year?
So I think we had a great recruiting class. I think our team success relies pretty heavy on that. We got a couple transfers, but I mean overall they all work really hard. They come in every day. We have plenty of people that do two-a-days, so they can make sure they kind of live up to what the team expects out of them. But I would say from what I've seen that the team really wants to win, and that's really all it takes in swimming. Is the dedication. So if you got that, then it's pretty easy to win.
Now, MJ, you said the dedication is the most important part to winning. So for you, and we're going to talk about this, you're diving, you're swimming. Obviously, I know you're a very driven individual. You even played some volleyball last year. I see you out on the pickleball court and you're competitive. So what do you feel like? Where do you feel like that competitive drive, that competitive nature comes from for you? Where does that fire come from?
So from a young age, my parents, we had to play a sport, and I don't see it as a bad thing. But from a young age, I've been competitive with my siblings, and we've always kind of traveled through the same sports together, trying to find something we enjoyed. And for a while, it was basketball, and my dad was super passionate about it. We practiced all the time. It became something that I was like, okay, well, like if I push myself, then I can do whatever I want with it. And then I kind of switched my track once I started high school, and I switched to swimming, which was brand new. I'd never done it before, but I realized once I started practicing and once I started being able to compete with other people that all it took was kind of my dedication. So in just about everything I do, I enjoy winning. Some people might say it's a bad thing. I think it's a great attribute to have. But yeah, so I've just always I think my siblings is what's made me the competitive athlete I am. Because I mean, if I'm succeeding to be better than them, then they have somebody to also try to be better than. So I think that's
No, that's awesome. Wow, great answer. And you're from my home state of North Carolina. Love to have a fellow North Carolinian on the show. And everyone always asks me, why'd you come up here? Why'd you come up here? So I'll ask you the same question now. Why'd you choose to leave the sunny skies and warm temperatures of North Carolina? Obviously, it's a snowy day today. So why did you choose to come up here? Were you recruited as a swimmer or a diver? Or how did that whole process turn out? And why'd you choose to come to Washington, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, so I was actually recruited by Matt. He reached out to me. It wasn't a school I was necessarily looking at coming to, but I did kind of want to get out of North Carolina. I just felt like to grow as a person, I needed to be away from the people that raised me. Because if I'm close enough to my mother, she'll be there whenever she can to kind of baby me. But yeah, so Matt reached out to me. We set up a call. I talked to Nick Belofsky. He was one of the seniors from last year. He was the same major. We talked for a little bit. We talked about school, and it seemed like a really nice place to be at. And then finally, I came on a tour. We drove up from North Carolina and back in the same day. It was a long day. But immediately, once I got onto campus, it was just so beautiful. Campus is really nice. The people were amazing. I talked to some of my team or my past teammates. Just great people. It's a great environment, and I enjoy kind of the small aspect of the school. So.
Now, MJ, just something about your personal background. I just learned a few minutes ago. Is your parents are both in the military. Do you feel like that gave you any unique perspectives and a sport where there is a lot of failure in diving, or there is a lot of dedication that's required, like swimming, and a tough mental attitude? Do you feel like growing up in a military household where you were required to play sports? Do you feel like that gave you any kind of unique lessons? Did your parents ever talk to you in ways that you felt like were unique because of their experiences?
Yeah, so I think that watching my parents have to kind of adapt to the military lifestyle and kind of teaching us that like nothing's like set in stone. Deployments come and go, stuff like that. I think is what's pushed me to want to succeed in certain things, because that I know like my parents did what they had to do to succeed to get me to this point. So to not do what I have to would be letting them down essentially.
Wow, awesome, Ashton. Thank you for sharing that story. And we are at the start of 2024, so I'll go ahead and ask you this one, make you think a little bit. What's the biggest lesson that you, MJ, learned in 2023?
That's a good one. 2023 was a big year for diving. For me, it was my first year. Um, so it took a lot mentally. It's a tough sport. I smacked the water more than I can count on my hands. I caught myself plenty of times asking myself why I continue to do a sport that causes me so much pain. And I realized that it's a sport that I genuinely enjoy. It's fun. The satisfaction from kind of getting new things that I didn't think I could do just kind of outweighs those negative thoughts. So my biggest like outtake from 2023 would be that like some things are bad, and things are going to be bad, but like the positive outweighs the negative. And it's a big thing for diving for me, because like even today I smacked the water pretty hard, and I asked myself once again, why do I do this? And then I got over here and threw a new dive that I haven't thrown in a while and stuck it, and immediately I forgot about smacking. So
Wow.
I kind of just have to look past the bad, and keep moving.
So I know we talked about swimming a little bit, but when you came to W&J, did you have diving experience? Was it something you did in high school?
No, none at all actually. So my high school only had swimming. I was brand new to that. Got that in 4 years. I was recruited to swim, and with before we even started practice, I did a start off the block, and immediately I had pain in my shoulder, and it was really bad. I went and got checked out, MRIs, multiple visits to the hospital to try and figure out what was wrong, and I had a minor tear in my labrum. So it was physically it physically hurt to swim. It was kind of weird. I came and helped out with a swim camp, and the divers wanted me to do a dive off the 3 meter,
Really?
and I was like, I'm not super comfortable with that, because it was scary. And so I
Three
got up
meters, the
there.
one behind us,
Yeah,
correct?
3 meters is a big one. So I got up there, and he was like, do a front 1.5, and I was like, I don't actually know what a front 1.5 is. But I don't know what came over me. I got up on the diving board and I threw it. It was probably the ugliest one I've ever done in my entire life. But I didn't smack, and I think that was kind of when I was like, I could do this. Like, I mean, it'll be tough because it's like picking up a brand new sport. My first year in college, dropping the one that I did for the last 4 years. But the satisfaction I got from not smacking on that one dive led me to where I'm at right now with diving. So
Wow. That's a really cool story of a sport that's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. And some sports, like, oh, if I'm trying to play a new position in baseball, like I might miss the ground ball, but I don't necessarily feel the pain that you might
yeah,
feel from missing a dive. Or I'm trying a new position in basketball, it's not going to be pain in the same way. So for you, do you ever get nervous when you're stepping out right here to try a new dive? Is there a feeling of nerves? Is there always a feeling of calm? Like, how's that process work?
So I've had to learn to kind of calm myself down on the diving boards, because I talked about that front 2.5 I threw, and I sat on the board back there and I was shaking, like physically I didn't think I could do it, and my coach goes, I need you to count down from 5, all right, and then after that force yourself to go, all right, in those 5 seconds, calm yourself down, slow down your breathing, and it's kind of now what I have to do if I know something's scary. But I physically have to do these dives if I want to compete at the level I know I can. So it is very scary. It's a very scary sport, but like I said, the outcome from new stuff is worth kind of the fear aspect of everything.
So when you do, is that just the routine every time? Is it 5 breaths, or like is there a particular routine? Like, say, crucial dive coming up here. What's the thought process as you walk up that ladder?
During meets, it is necessary just because I have the mindset that I have to be perfect during meets, and knowing that that's not possible is what stresses me out. So when I get up on the board they call out my dive. I run through those 5 breaths. It slows me down so that I'm not rushing anything. Um, so for me, yes, it's definitely crucial. It's a big part of my routine. But for practice, it's kind of just those harder new dives that I'm learning rather than everything.
Hmm. Now, MJ, we've talked about you from a personal angle a little bit, and like I said, you're a very driven person and you're really taking advantage of a lot of opportunities of MJ. Obviously, you're involved in the frat life, already a vice president, captain of the team. What is something that you hope to gain from this chapter of your life?
So being vice president, being captain, I feel like I have a lot of people that look up to me. Um, so I'm kind of learning like how to be a leader. And most people might feel like they learned that in high school. But I feel like once I was given this kind of opportunity to lead, obviously the frat house is a group of bunch of guys. They're not the easiest to kind of manipulate. Same with the swim team. A lot of the freshmen are still in that high school mindset. Um, so I kind of have to go about things differently. If one thing doesn't work, I have to switch it up and try it a different way. Um, so kind of just learning how to adapt, I feel like is the best thing I could get out of these
Well,
opportunities.
now, for you, MJ, talking with those freshmen on the team who you say have been so critical this year, um, what is the biggest advice that you try to give to freshmen on the team?
So, and this is speaking from experience, actually, a lot of them were really scared to not do well. They were scared they were going to let the team down. And I had to kind of walk them through the fact that like everyone on this team has had to go through this. It's scary. I was scared um, months before my season about that first race and maybe not doing well and letting my team down. But I don't think it's about how you start. I think it's about how you finish. So who cares if maybe your first meet you lose a race, you lose 2 races. If by the time packs come around, you're a completely different swimmer, and you've put in the time and effort to grow and become faster for the team.
Now, swimming is a sport and diving too that people might watch on the Olympics. It's very popular. They always put it at night on the Olympics, these two sports. For you, do you think that people who don't do these sports have any misconceptions? I've started to ask this question to athletes around campus who maybe play sports that aren't as well known, shown on TV or anything like that at the professional level very often. So, do you feel like there's any misconception about diving and or swimming?
So I've run into a lot of people that seem to have this misconception that swimming is very easy, as well as
Says
diving.
who?
Yeah, that and that's like I've
Go
been
swim a lap if you think it's
yeah
easy.
as fast as you can. I've had plenty of, and I don't take any harm from it because I know it's difficult. I don't really need anyone else to tell me, but like plenty of times, like orientation this year, I lifeguarded, and some of the newer football players were like, race me," like it's not that difficult. All right, I gave him a 10-second head start and still beat him to the wall. But I think it's kind of one of those things that people see others do so well.
Mm,
At these Olympics that it seems like it's maybe not the most difficult thing.
yeah. Well, you see
Um,
Michael Phelps like take like 3 breaths,
yeah,
on the way
yeah. People are like,
down.
"Oh wow, like oh, I could do that."
I was like Katie Ledecky. Like America, we have like such a like we
Yeah,
see these athletes and it's just like
yeah.
it looks effortless.
Yeah, it should be impossible to be as good as Katie Ledecky, Caleb Dressel. Um, so the so I don't know. I think swimming as well as diving are very difficult sports. I don't think they're difficult to pick up, but I do think it's difficult, kind of the practices. I don't think people understand that when you finish a race, um, physically my body cannot lift me out of the water. If I race a race how my coach wants me to, I shouldn't be able to pull myself out of the water after it.
Right. And you spin
And
the intermedley, right?
yeah, so I swam backstroke for the IM, and it was always and all that's another thing. People think you can, because my face is out of the water, I can breathe. Common misconception. I did just almost drown at the swim meet we just had. Um, I have, because I haven't swam in a year and a half now, and I swam the 200 back, and so I physically could not keep going. But I don't know. It's also one of those things that you lose really quickly.
Mhm.
Same with diving. We were gone for winter break for 3-4 months or 3-4 weeks. And I came back and it was like I'd never jumped on a diving board before.
Really?
And it's the same thing with swimming. You kind of lose that breath control that you work so hard to build up. So I don't know. I do think people think this is a very easy sport, both of them, and I just don't believe that's true.
Yeah, I don't
From
see that in any way.
Yeah.
When you say breath control, what type of things do you typically like work on? I know like breathing has kind of become like a thing where it's you know, there's different kinds of breathing techniques. Like I've seen like box breathing. Is it things out of the water, or is it like more working the technique of breathing in the stroke?
So when I was in high school, I did a lot of cardio outside of the water. I like to run. That's something I enjoy. So it really doesn't matter how you build this breath control up. We do, when I was in high school, we would do running. I forgot what the things are called, but you put them in your mouth and it makes it harder to breathe. It kind of forces your lungs to expand.
Like a high altitude mask.
Yeah. So it forces your lungs to expand. I was never great with breaths. Most people breathe every 3, every 4. I took a breath every 2. It didn't slow me down at all. And if not, I couldn't breathe. So I did every 2. Even with all of the training that I would do, I would swim laps underwater to kind of help force myself to see what it feels like to not be able to breathe as much in a race. Because realistically, when we're swimming like a 50 freestyle, my goal at this past meet was to not breathe on the way down and then take 1 breath on the way back, which for most people seems crazy because that's 27 seconds of, imagine like sprinting up a hill and you're not allowed to breathe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's one of those things that you get just from swimming. I think the more you swim, the easier it becomes. But there is ways to kind of help with that out of the water.
Now, MJ, we're gonna do a couple, lighter questions here, but one more kind of deep question here. What is something in your life that you are proud of?
That's a good one. I would say being here right now. When I was in high school, it was kind of one of those things. I started off not too hot, and by my sophomore year, I had barely made it through class wise. Horrible grades, and then something clicked junior and senior year, and immediately I was taking dual enrollment classes through our local community college. Staying after school for like tutoring to help, and it made me realize how like difficult things are when you start in a hole. So for me to start my high school career so poorly and then have to work so much harder than most people would have to, I think it was, I don't want to say impressive, I don't want to toot my own horn. But I did have to dig out of that hole, made it to college, and thriving in college. So I do think it was making it to college was something that I probably wouldn't have thought I could do towards the end of my sophomore year, and especially not come to college to swim, just because that was something I had such little experience with. I had 4 years of swimming under my belt. Most people by their senior year of high school have 12. So yeah, I think the drive that it took to get me here is what I'm most proud of.
Wow, awesome. Thank you for sharing that story. And
Yeah.
a couple fun questions now.
All right.
Who's your favorite musical artist of all time and why?
Okay, so people can call me a bandwagon all they want. But Drake on top till I die. There's no one that can top him. I don't think anyone makes better music than he
Was
does.
For All the Dogs good?
100%. I think the last 3 albums he's come out with were amazing. You Broke My Heart, #1 song on Scary Hours. But I don't know. I think he just, when I listen to his music, I don't know if there's something I can relate to there. But I just feel like there's so much like emotion behind all of his music, no matter if it's like anger or like sadness. But I feel like there's a lot there.
I think he's kind of turned into a meme in the past couple of years, and it's like people kind of hate on his music for it.
Yeah.
I can think of so many examples, but I think he is like at the end of the day like a good artist.
Yeah.
I think what keeps me like in that conversation with him for like Kendrick and J. Cole, I don't think he has like the bars they do, but I think his variety of music, like he has some like R&B, he has some rap. He has songs where he has like a slower flow, songs where he's like really just going bar for bar with anyone. The real question is, what's the best Drake album? It's a highly debated topic.
Dang. I want to say his last couple are up there in the running.
Not the classic stuff.
That's the.
I'm saying Nothing Was the Same or So Far Gone. I mean, probably Nothing Was the Same. Or Take Care. I don't know. It's tough.
Take Care was good.
I'm going to have to say Take Care.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. But I do think his past three are up there in probably the top five, top six.
Is Certified Lover Boy in the past three or is that four? I really like Certified Lover Boy.
I think it's
three. It was three albums.
Three,
right?
yeah.
He drops a lot of music compared to like artists. Like for me, I'm a big. Obviously, you're from Norcana. Are you a J. Cole guy?
Oh yeah, of course.
Like,
he's definitely up there.
But he never drops.
Yeah,
you know
it took forever.
He does, but like it's very few and far between. And Kendrick, that's like a event. When he drops, you know what I mean?
that happens every blue moon. But I do think J. Cole is. I grew up on J. Cole. Obviously, he's from the Ville. So that was a huge thing for me too. A lot of his songs, like I'd sing word for word from the age of like 6. Probably not great parenting decisions, but like Wet Dreams, that probably should have been a song I knew word for word at the age of 7. But music for me is like if I can listen to music, I'm listening to music. Walking to class, I'm throwing headphones on and I'm listening to music. I don't know. It's just kind of like a way to get out of like where we're at. So I don't know. Yeah. I think music's great.
If color paints space, then music paints time.
Agreed.
That's my thoughts on it. Now, if you had a particular party song, if there was a party going on, I don't know if you're a party or not. That's not for discussion. That's not the question. The question is, if you were at a party and you had to put a song on the aux, 5 seconds, crowd's looking at you. What song are you putting on?
Oh, the college is looking. Party in the USA.
Miley Cyrus, classic.
I think
everyone can sing along.
Yeah, I think you can never go wrong with that.
Not too cheesy. Yeah, I think when people answer this question, you have to have something people can sing along to.
Yeah, I think
it doesn't just have to be upbeat, but it has to be something everyone can sing along to.
Yeah, because I wanted to say before you told me the college was watching was Rich Baby Daddy. I think it's a great song.
No, I'm not gonna lie, that's one too.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll definitely it definitely gets played at parties, but I do think Party in the USA is
still a banger.
Is the number one.
It's still a banger. Rich Baby. That is a banger though too. Honestly, SZA saved the song with her verse. I feel like. Yeah. I like SZA a lot.
I do too. I was gonna go see her in concert.
Oh really?
That fell through. I was also gonna go see Drake in concert February 17th. But it's the last day of PAX for us. So here for the team.
Yeah, there you go. For all the dogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's really. I like some of SZA's music. Obviously Kendrick is not in Top Dog anymore, but she used to do a lot of songs with Kendrick, and still does, and Drake as well. I mean, obviously Kill Bill is really overplayed, but like I really like that song.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Slime You Out, I think is a great one. All the music she does with Drake, I think it's a lot like slower.
You listen to any Isaiah Rashad?
No, I've heard of the name before.
Yeah, you should listen to him with SZA. Some really good tracks. Like the score is a really good one. But yeah, no, Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA, classic. I respect it. Now, what's your favorite movie of all time and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's honestly it's between kind of the Divergent series. I think those movies were amazing. Very well planned out the kind of series. I'm gonna go with Divergent, the first one. I think it does a great job of setting up a dystopian.
Really? I gotta check those. I haven't seen this. I've seen Maze Runner and Hunger Games.
Yeah, they're really similar in kind of the way that everyone's governed. But I think they're really good at kind of at a young age, everyone's split into groups based on their IQ. Well, they can choose, and then if you fail out of it, you kind of are banished by the rest of the world. But I think it's really great how they because in my mind, this could happen.
Yeah.
I think it's totally within standards. There's a smart group, a crazy group. They jump off of trains and stuff. So I do think it's something that could happen. We have in my mind, we have college professors and then we have people that skateboard for a living. No shame to either of them, but they're definitely in two different worlds.
I gotta check that out. A lot of people recommended that. I gotta check it out.
Great movie.
Now, last question before we go to the quote of the day here. What have you not got to do yet that you want to do in your life?
Oh, go to a Drake concert. It's actually the only one. I've seen Kendrick in concert. I've seen 21 in concert. Wow. But I just think seeing Drake in concert, and then this one he's about to go on now. He's going on tour with J. Cole.
I know.
Like it would have been a great.
Well, Drake came to Dreamville Fest last year in Raleigh. I haven't got to go yet.
I think Dreamville would be nice too.
Yeah, I want to go to Dreamville Fest.
Go to one of those.
But we're always up at your school.
Yeah, Dreamville or Coachella. I just want to go to like a really big festival. I think
that'd be cool.
I think as extroverted as I am, I think I would really have fun.
Yeah, no, I can see that. That'd definitely be dope. All right, MJ, this has been really fun. And of course, we got to end with the quote of the day. So why don't you go ahead and take us home up here on the diving board?
Alrighty. Quote of the day. Bad news, time flies. Good news, you're the pilot.
Wow. What a great quote. MJ, thank you so much for this interview, my man. And I appreciate you very much. Very insightful once again. Thank you for coming on.
Of course. Thank you, man.
All right, thanks, everyone.